about credit scores and credit reports. Let's start with credit scores. Your credit score tells the bank how trustworthy you are. So if you have no credit score, it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult to borrow money because the bank doesn't trust you. Also, if you have a high score, that's good because then your interest is low. You have to pay the bank less to borrow money. And if you have a low score, you will have to pay the bank more interest. You have to promise them to pay them more money in order for them to lend you some. Okay, so what's a high score and what's a low score anyway? The US credit score goes from 300 to 850. So for example, if you have say a 750, that would be considered a high score. And if you have say a 600, that's not a very good score. In general, you really want at least 680 to be able to borrow money. For example, let's say you want to borrow money to buy a car. How much interest do you have to pay? We'll learn more about this, but the auto APR is just the interest rate that you pay. If your credit score is around 800, your interest rate for a new car is about 3.68%. If your score is around 700, you might have to pay about 4.56% interest. If your score is much lower, like a 500, you would have to place about 12% interest. So the lower your score, the more interest you have to pay. So how can you get your credit score to be as high as possible? How do they determine your credit score? First, there is payment history. In other words, when you borrow money, do you pay it back? This is the most important part. It's about 35% of your credit score. Next, we have amount owed. The more money borrowed, the more difficult it is for you to pay back your loan, so the less the bank trusts you. So the more money you borrow, the lower your credit score. Amount owed counts 30% towards your credit score. Next, we have the length of your credit history. How long have you been borrowing and paying back money? If you have been borrowing and paying money for many years, the bank trusts you more. This is about 15%. Finally, how many credits do you have? How many accounts do you have? The more credit cards you apply for, the lower your score. Because if you have lots of credit cards, that's less likely that you'll be able to pay back every single one of them. So that's how they determine your credit score. If you have a credit card or a bank account, you will have a credit score and a credit report. Credit scores are not free. However, credit reports you can get for free. You should definitely, if you have a credit report, you should definitely get in the habit of looking them up. Every year, you can get 3 reports, 3 free ones, one from each of the 3 major credit agencies. Where do you get your free credit reports? You should go to annualcreditreport.com. It will take you to the site where you can get your credit report. You can get one for free. Every year you can get one for free from Experian, one from Equifax, and one from TransUnion. The credit report will have details about every time you have borrowed money and whether you have paid them back on time. You should check because they make mistakes on the credit reports. For example, on mine, a few years ago, they would confuse my brother's credit history with mine, and I had to call the agencies and get that fixed. Now, credit reports are free, but credit scores are not. However, you can still go to this website, creditkarma.com. That's a great site. You can set up a free account. There you can check to see how your credits are doing. You can effectively check your credit scores for free if you use this website. So that's it for now. We'll continue tomorrow.